Here on Red Team, we have a penance, perchance. Sometimes, what's the word I'm looking for?
Propensity, sir.
Right, that thing. We like to fix things. Well, Lopez, our robot, is out of commission. We have to clean up the mess left behind Private Griff. And we're going to do that now, so we can get to working and fixing our next project. Because life finds a way. Well, that wasn't very impressive. And there we go. Now it's nice and clean. The rest of it's not. We at least have a work surface. And that's what we're concerned about. Alright, boys. Bring her in. Sarge? I'm not sure it's a good idea to bring both of these in at the same time. Especially since I'm stuck. There we go. Simmons, quit screwing around and get that thing in here. We got a job to do. They do take up a quite bit more space than we thought. And now it's time to get cleaning. My favorite part. Well, since Sarge took you through the cleaning up of the workspace part, sort of, we're going to clean up why is everything here? We're going to clean all of the gunk and age and broken parts off of the chairs. First thing we gotta do, carefully cut the seat off of it. So, post-editor here, the important part is taking the rush weave seat off of the chair before you really get started. That lets you get a good ground on what exactly you have to do, how much cleaning you have to do. Do you need to scrub it? Do you need to strip it? Do you need to completely remake a couple parts? And as you can see here, there was a fair amount of life in these chairs. They had been well used and well lived, and it took a little bit more work to get them clean than I had originally thought, but it all works out pretty well. Look at that. Probably make something with that later. I'll give it to Caboose. I'll probably make a best friend out of it. Once we've gotten that far, we take a good old-fashioned can of scrubbing bubbles. Because scrubbing bubbles are awesome. And we're just going to cover the whole chair. So scrubbing bubbles is actually a perfectly acceptable cleaner for most of your furniture projects. It allows you to really take some of the older gunk off, and I'm scrubbing it down with a little bit of steel wool. That'll help abrade the surface and strip off some of the gunk and some of the more lived in and used sections. Take off a little bit of the shellac, some of the oils. It'll help prep the work surface, and that's really, really important. And these chairs have been around for at least 60 years, just judging from the construction and the style. They've been around for a good long time, and I want to keep them around for a good long time. We're gonna have to stop for now. Simmons, quit screwing around with that thing. Yes, sir. We're letting Blue Team take over. They know about strippers. This sucks. Maybe I should have been a little more explicit when I told them I knew about strippers. About Chicka Bow Wow. But what we're doing is we're taking premium stripper, which you tip with more than $1, and we're taking off all of the old gunky finish. You just put it on, brush it on, wait about 15 minutes, and then you scrape it off. And then anything that's left over you can just sand off and make sure to brush it down with little mineral spirits we've got right here. And of course, there's a couple spots that still need to get sanded and scraped, but we'll take care of those in a second. So it's important to note that certain furniture is actually done with shellac, and with shellac you'll want to use denatured alcohol, and that will let you take that finish, that shellac finish off a whole lot easier. And then you can just kind of scrape it with a blade, and that is tremendously useful. It allows you to get so much more done in a quicker amount of time. As you can see here, I'm just going through the motions, you know, busting my knuckles. Wear your gloves because denatured alcohol is rough, but you just keep going and you really kind of end up with something special. You get down to that bare wood and you can see the grain and pulling out the palm sander here. That grain, that maple really comes through strong. Absolutely. Important not sanding too much. I started with a fairly high grit. And we're going through the motions, making sure we hit every little spot. So we actually had a rung on one of these chairs completely broken through. So I took some red oak dowel and I put some pocket holes in it, and then I shaped it up. And I made sure to align those pocket holes really well, grab the right length, the right size, clamp it in. Clamp it real hard because you don't want it shifting on a round dowel. So real slow, and it just kind of works out. Hello, my name is Caboose. My name is Caboose, and welcome to my shop. I have taken over for Tucker, who has made one seat after stripping the wood. But what stripping means he won't tell me. But we get to fix it. We'll replace the stretcher and then weave the seat. Hey, Sarge? Good lord. He's like a mule. You know how strong you have to be to just muscle in a stretcher? Yeah, that's not the way that's supposed to work, is it? No, Simmons. No, it is not. That's the other one. Stand over here. And we've got this seat here, which kind of has a neat feature. It's splayed out. And what we want to do is make sure that when we start the full weave, we're nice and square. I'm going to take this bit of straight edge and line it up. And we'll just put a little wooden peg and put a line right there. And do the same thing to this side. There is a bit of a bend to it, but It's not too bad. Just kind of burnish a line in right there. And that'll tell us where the front and the back are the same distance across. That'll make it square. And that'll also take up any unnecessary fibers here. Because what we'll do is we'll do a partial weave just to get the front in, just until it's square. So we can grab the staple gun and get started with that. Alright. So we're going to grab our larger coil here, find an end, hold that like that, and we're going to make a smaller coil. It's a lot easier to work with a smaller coil when doing this than it is something like the whole roll. That should be good. Take our diagonal cutters, and we can just take it out. So let's plug in our stapler here. Because it will be important. Take one end of the coil, and we're just gonna about as close to it as we can, right at the edge there. Put it on our staple like that, and then we'll take a teeny tiny hammer, and we'll just make sure that stays in. So we want that nice and tight so we can get the rest of it nice and tight. Now, so far the procedure is going to be pretty simple. We're going to go over the top and up through the middle. I'll turn left. We're trying to keep it tight the whole time. You go over the top of the rail, weave it in, and up through the center. Now, because we got one over here, we do one over here for symmetry. We'll follow the same process. Over the top, up through the center, keeping it as tight as we can. And we'll turn left, pulling it to us over the top, and up through the center. Once we get here, here's tricky. I'm starting off, but it's not too much to worry about. We just weave it off just like that, and we'll give a pinch right there. What we'll do is we'll pull this as tight as we can, because that's being held down with that. We can go ahead and drive in another teeny tiny little staple. So as you can see, it takes a good number of coils to really get a seat started. You want to make sure that front end is square, even if it's splayed out a little bit, because that is what allows your chair to really come together and have that really great diamond look to it. So now we have reached about this point in making a chair. And this is when we realize that chairs are not like time. They're not made of circles. Chairs are made of triangles. We will take the cardboard triangle and treat it like a peanut butter sandwich and a VCR. And we're just gonna jam it in there. So this actually does something really important for the chair though. This is gonna add cushion to the seat, and it's gonna add stability to the chair, as well as make the chair last longer. The cardboard is gonna act like a seat cushion, and it's gonna provide a little bit of give And it's going to help put the tension in the curve of the rungs versus the tangent point, which is where it first meets your rung, where the rush first meets it. That's tangent, and there's a lot of pressure there, so we want this to last a long time, so we're going to help mitigate that. And we'll just take our cardboard triangles. Now generally on the top of the seat it'll take more on the sides than it will the front and the back, and then on the bottom of the seat it's reversed. The front and the back will generally take more than the sides, and that's because of the offset in these rungs, so they all kind of fit together. In the old days, they would just take like spare rush and just kind of untwist it, get it all loose. Because this is essentially just cardboard. It's just brown paper bag. And they would take this and they'd open it up just like this, and then they ball it up, that open loose end, which I can't seem to tear, so apparently I am weak. But yeah, they would take that and they would untwist it, and then they would ball it up in the balls, and then just tuck it in, push it in. Yeah, let's put that in there. Just kind of. Now we'll have to kind of fight it sometimes, and that's okay. We'll fold and do a reverse fold, almost like an origami paper airplane. And then we'll just sneak it in. I'm gonna ride the lines that went across. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. So let's take, I think we can put that one on top. All right, well, get on this side and do the same thing. And we'll kind of feed her in. Okay. Now, if you get stuck like this, you can always take, like a pen or something small and not too pointy or sharp, and work it out. Now that we've gotten to about this point and we have our triangles, we can begin to do a figure 8 weave all the way across, and that will finish up the seat. So we'll just unclamp it, get off to the side. We'll grab our pick. And a figure 8 weave is essentially the same we've been doing before. Go over the one end, and then up through the center, and then over the other end. You just go front to back versus making a 90-degree turn. And once we get to about here, we'll take our wedge, we'll tap it in. We got to make sure everything's really square. Sometimes the rush coils overlap and we can't help it, and from here we're just finishing off the chair. Now the bottom of the chair isn't really that important because no one sits on the bottom of the chair, no one looks at the bottom of the chair. The day someone comes over and looks at the bottom of your chair, that's the day you need new friends. But to finish it off, what we'll do is keep it nice and tight, and we'll go all the way across, and we'll just do a half hitch on one and tuck the extra over into the side. You want about 6 extra inches, and you just kind of tuck it over like that, and it sits really well. So we've got to the final steps, and we've actually put on one coat of lacquer. and it looks really great. There are some still kind of rough and scratchy spots, and that's because of the way the lacquer lays down, because I used spray lacquer. What we can do though is take a bit of cardboard and peel it. Just kind of fold it in half and get like a good workable bit. And then from there, now a lot of people like to do this with steel wool. Just gonna kind of rub down those higher spots. But I think steel wool kind of bleeds out and stains. You get little bits of, you know, steel broken off, and you get sort of this grayish tone to everything, which is fine if that's your aesthetic. But I'm really looking for that classic wood grain and a little bit of red richness from the Danish oils. And now, finally, for some glamour shots. As you can see, both the reds and the blues did a great job. Look at them chairs. They just look wonderful. And look at that truck in the background. It's a diesel-powered callback killing machine. And that's how the reds and the blues do chairs.